Chun Li, the first lady of fighting games.
Throughout gaming's rich history, few video game characters created have reached the same level of mainstream impact as that of Chun Li. Functioning as one of the most recognizable ladies in gaming, this spinning bird kicker is admired for both her strength and beauty in equal measures. Holding bragging rights for being the strongest woman in the world and having the world's most perfect thighs simultaneously, it's no wonder that everyone has such respect for this heroine. Bearing this in mind, it's time to celebrate this great character's past in more detail than ever before. So please sit back and relax as we analyse the lore, creation and every video game appearance this nylon-wearing annihilator has ever made.
I am Lady Decade and this is Ladies Through the Decades, the evolution of Chun Li.
Although the Street Fighter series began in 1987, the 1991 release of Street Fighter II truly ignited global enthusiasm. This groundbreaking game introduced fluid animations, incredible moves, one-on-one player versus player action, and an unforgettable roster of 12 fighters. Among these remarkable athletes, a strong case could be made that Chun Li shone the brightest in catching gamers' attention. Early design concepts display a Chinese beauty labelled Ji Yi, a Kempo prodigy. With her hair in buns, this fighter was designed to seek revenge against her father's killer. Looking at such a sketch and description, it doesn't take rocket science to deduct that Ji Li would become Chun Li. When crafting distinctive characters for Street Fighter II, Akira Nishitani, the designer, drew inspiration from a character named Teo in the 1983 anime film Armageddon Genma Wars. Although Teo appeared younger than Chun Li, certain parallels can be drawn in their clothing and hairstyle choices, and including a female fighter in the World Warrior Tournament marked a shift towards entertainment over a strictly realistic tone, as exemplified by other characters in the game, such as Dalsim's incredibly stretchy limbs and Blanca's monstrous appearance. Chun Li, whose name means spring beauty in Mandarin, proudly embraces her Chinese heritage as evidenced by her iconic attire introduced in the 1991 game. This distinctive outfit is none other than the traditional Chinese dress known as a Qi Pao. The Qi Pao originates in the Manchuria region, a historically significant area encompassing parts of Russia and China in Northeast Asia. In the early 20th century, it gained popularity among local girls. In a touching tribute to her late mother, who tragically passed away during Chun Li's childhood, the fighter dons the Qi Pao as a symbol of honour and remembrance. Her unique ensemble includes dark brown tights and white boxing boots, carefully chosen to accentuate the leggy appearance that artist Akimon Yasuda envisioned. Legend has it that Yasuda was so determined to get her legs absolutely perfect that the game was nearly delayed due to redoing her sprite work meticulously over and over again. Notably, Chun Li's fighting attire also features spiked bracelets crafted from iron, each weighing up to a substantial 10 kilograms. These weighted bracelets serve a dual purpose. Firstly, they contribute to Chun Li's remarkable physical conditioning by adding resistance to her movements, aiding in her training and helping to maintain her toned physique. Secondly, they are pivotal in stabilising her during her signature kicking manoeuvres, ensuring her centre of gravity remains steadfast. The menacing spikes adorning the bracelet serve as an intimidating statement, further enhancing her formidable presence in combat.
Sadly, mine aren't quite as scary as hers.
Regarding Chun Li and her combat prowess, she stands out as one of the original nimble characters in the Street Fighter series. Her unique ability lies in executing a flurry of swift attacks, making agility and rapid movements her primary tools for victory. This fighting style pioneered by Chun Li has served as an archetype for female fighters throughout the world of fighting games, paving the way for the debut of many gorgeous ladies in the future. Having a pair of such remarkable muscular thighs empowers her to unleash a series of devastating kicking-based techniques, including the iconic ability to deliver multiple kicks in quick succession and, of course, the legendary spinning bird kick. Shifting gears to Chun Li's backstory, her journey into martial arts commenced at the tender age of just 5. She first ignited her fascination with martial arts while watching the Chinese classic The Peking Opera. Inspired by what she saw, Chun Li delved into the world of Tai Chi. However, her thirst for martial knowledge didn't stop there. Soon after, her father took on the role of her martial arts instructor, introducing her to various other disciplines. Chun Li's kicking prowess improved quickly and dramatically, an aspect of her skill set that continues to leave a lasting impression. This proficiency, however, bore no coincidence, as her father had been renowned for his formidable leg strength. Chun Li continued her journey by delving into various Chinese martial arts disciplines, eventually crafting her own unique style. Amidst this exploration, her bond with her father remained strong until the fateful day when he mysteriously vanished. This tragic event prompted Chun Li to embark on a new path, choosing a career as a detective at the young age of 18. Given her father's history as a narcotics investigator for the international law enforcement agency Interpol, it was a natural choice. His final mission had been investigating the enigmatic criminal organisation known as Shadaloo. If we are talking story canon rather than the release date of titles, Chun Li's earliest appearances in the Street Fighter series unfolded in the Street Fighter Alpha games, where she tirelessly searched for clues about her father's whereabouts. During this quest, she engaged in friendly sparring matches with various individuals, including her father's old comrade, Jen, who provided a significant lead regarding his potential assailant. The accused, none other than the malevolent leader of the Shadaloo crime syndicate, M. Bison, bore the weight of suspicion. When Chun Li finally confronted him, demanding the truth, Bison callously scoffed and vowed to end her life, just as he had her father's. In Street Fighter Alpha Warrior's Dreams, Bison unleashed his devastating Psycho Punisher upon her before she could escape the confrontation. The game concludes with Chun Li regaining consciousness in a hospital, where she receives words that M. Bison has relocated to Thailand.
But things would change.
Alpha 2, on the other hand, would later rewrite these events, depicting a scenario where Bison, following his clash with Chun Li, would hastily retreat in his jet. In his desperate escape, he would inadvertently divulge the sinister truth about what he had done to her father. Alpha 2's conclusion would show Chun Li's appointment as the special investigator of Shadaloo by Interpol, with an unwavering resolve to exact vengeance upon the man she despised so profoundly. But her story would further be built on through the Alpha trilogy. The culmination of the Alpha series, Street Fighter Alpha 3, sees Chun Li teaming up with Charlie Nash from the United States Air Force on a mission to track down Shadaloo. The mission would introduce her to Charlie's comrade, Guile, for the first time. As Alpha 3 reached its climax, Chun Li discovered that Bison had managed to deceive the US Air Force into cancelling their plans to bomb the Shadaloo base. In response, she, Guile and Charlie embark on a daring mission to destroy the base themselves. Their strategic placement of explosive charges proved successful, and Guile and Charlie ventured inside to ensure the total annihilation of Bison's psycho drive. Shortly thereafter, Guile informed Chun Li that Charlie had instructed them both to escape, sacrificing himself in the ensuing explosion. Shadaloo's operations appeared to be temporarily crippled, if not entirely dismantled, for the time being. But rather disappointingly for the Queen of Thighs, she later learns that he lives. Her subsequent chapter in the story unfolds in Street Fighter 2, with M. Bison miraculously re-emerging in Thailand. Here he hosts the second World Warrior Tournament, a cunning ploy to draw out Ryu. Upon learning of Bison's survival, Chun Li entered the tournament with the singular goal of eradicating Shadaloo once and for all, and avenging her father's tragic demise in the process. In the Street Fighter 2 storyline, it's commonly believed that Akuma would be the one to take down Bison. However, if you complete the game with the female fighter, her ending depicts a touching scene where she stands at her father's graveside, reassuring him that he can now find peace, as Bison and Shadaloo have been vanquished. If you had played the series once again, it would later be proven that the issue hasn't been dealt with, as a subsequent chapter of the narrative unfolds in Street Fighter 4. The following canonical chapter in Street Fighter 4 with the events of Street Fighter 3 coming later.
Street Fighter storytelling is all a bit Quentin Tarantino, which does in fact explain Juri's feat, a character we are going to talk about shortly.
Following on from the Second World Warrior tournament, Chun Li keeps herself occupied, engaging in travel and even taking on a job at a local eatery. However, Chun Li's inner strength is rekindled when she learns about the resurgence of the Sin organisation and ominous rumours surrounding Bison's return. Once again, she dons her iconic attire once more and joins forces with Guile and Cammy to probe these mysterious occurrences. Along her journey, she faces a formidable opponent and one who, by this point, has become pretty iconic in her own right. I am, of course, referring to the domineering Juri, who is powerful enough to defeat the so-called strongest woman in the world in combat. Alongside this all happening, Street Fighter 4 sees Chun Li participating in another intense fighting tournament, this time hosted by Sin. During this period, she also crosses paths with another new character, Sea Viper, whose actions threaten to expose Chun Li's undercover investigation. Later, she encounters Juri once again and tries to apprehend her. Although Chun Li manages to defeat her on this occasion, she is unable to bring Juri into custody. Chun Li's dark equivalent remains free to fight another day. As things progress, following a successful infiltration of Sin's facility, Chun Li finds herself trapped inside when Vega activates a self-destruct sequence, a situation reminiscent of Charlie's fate. Fortunately, her salvation comes in the form of Guile and a newcomer named Abel, allowing her to escape to safety. With M. Bison still alive, the next event involving the heroine we are focusing on unfolds in Street Fighter 5. Here, the investigation led by Chun Li and Guile into M. Bison's activities persists. They soon uncover that he wields control over formidable satellite weaponry called the Black Moons, which have plunged New York City into darkness. Chun Li boldly confronts M. Bison, even though the Black Moons currently empower him. Unfortunately, Bison effortlessly defeats her, employing his psycho techniques to send her tumbling onto the street. Just as Bison is about to deliver a fatal blow, a stroke of luck saves Chun Li as Cammy intervenes, allowing the heroes to make a hasty retreat. Later, as they regroup and attend to their injuries in the evening, they are astonished by the unexpected return of Charlie Nash. Charlie reveals that he's been resurrected by the Illuminati, a mysterious group who are explored in more depth in Street Fighter 3. Accompanied by the newcomers Rashid and Azam, Charlie seeks a key that holds a portion of the control over Bison's Black Moons. This leads to a confrontation with Chun Li engaging in a one-on-one battle against Rashid. Unable to prevail due to her earlier encounter with Bison, Rashid emerges victorious and claims the key as his spoils. In the wake of this defeat, Chun Li seeks the assistance of Karin in locating the remaining keys, believing they are crucial to thwarting Bison's plans and halting the Black Moons. Chun Li forms alliances with fellow fighters, including Ken Masters and others, embarking on a quest to acquire the keys. As action and narrative progresses in the game, eventually they manage to infiltrate Shadaloo and successfully deactivate the Black Moons. However, another threat looms. An all-new Shadaloo operative named Fang manages to reactivate the dangerous weapon. This sparks a colossal battle and a final assault involving numerous Street Fighter characters at the Shadaloo base. The paths of various characters intersect as they join forces in a bid to stop the impending catastrophe. Here, both Chun Li and Guile see Charlie die once more after he sacrifices himself in an effort to weaken M. Bison. Nearing the end of this incident, Chun Li fights Fang, while Ryu fights M. Bison, with Ryu potentially killing M. Bison for good this time. Chun Li is finally seen watching the destruction of Shadaloo, finally avenging her father's death hopefully permanently. Well, this is what we could learn about Chun Li from A Shadow's Fall, a big story encompassing the entire Street Fighter V roster from the time. Another play mode explores her further. Chun Li's Street Fighter V prologue primarily offers glimpses of her earlier encounters with Shadaloo, including an encounter with a group of Shadaloo soldiers and Birdie. These events highlight her initial meeting with Vega, culminating in her defeating and attempting to apprehend him for interrogation. Despite his escape, Vega reveals tantalizing information about her father's demise. This prologue underscores the crucial lesson she learned about the importance of not going it alone and expresses her gratitude to Guile and Charlie for their support.
Moral of the story: teamwork makes the dream work.
Before we discuss what happens in Street Fighter 3, we need to trace back to Shadow Falls once more to understand it fully. During all this, Chun-Li meets Li Fen, a missing hacker's daughter, whom two Shadaloo soldiers are holding until Rashid defeats them. During their initial infiltration of the Shadaloo base, Li Fen approached Chun-Li. She displayed on her mobile device that she had been identified as someone possessing a chess piece that could activate the Black Moons. During the climactic assault on the Shadaloo base, Fang menacingly jeopardizes Li Fen's life. However, Rashid intervenes just in time to thwart his sinister scheme. With swift determination, Chun-Li overpowers Fang, securing Li Fen's safety. Following Ryu's triumphant victory over M. Bison, Chun-Li can be seen cradling Li Fen as they escape. They are eventually reunited with their fellow fighters, making a heartwarming moment of unity and relief. Following the events of Street Fighter V, in Street Fighter III Third Strike, Chun-Li has retired from street fighting and now dedicates her time to teaching martial arts to orphaned children, all while maintaining her duties as a police officer. Li Fen also remains in her care. During this period, a sexy Giga Chad named Urian from the Illuminati kidnaps Li Fen for his so-called scientific experiments, compelling Chun-Li to embark on a quest to rescue her. Chun-Li ultimately triumphs over Urian, saving the girl, and subsequently returns to China to resume her new life as a martial arts instructor. While I'm keen to discuss Chun-Li's most recent chapter in her story that occurs in Street Fighter VI, before we even get to that, let's touch on the many cool non-canon appearances that this incredible fighter has made over the years. In her various media appearances, she took on different roles, one of which was in the 1994 Street Fighter live-action movie portrayed by Chinese-American actor Ming-Na Wen. In this adaptation, her original role as an Interpol officer was omitted entirely. Instead, she was reimagined as a news reporter at GNT News, adopting the new surname Chun Li Zhang. However, her unwavering determination to avenge her father's death remained a constant theme, irrespective of her occupation. This wasn't the only cinematic outing for Chun-Li, as 2009 marked the release of Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li, where she assumed the leading role. This unique retelling of her conflict with M. Bison and her quest for vengeance introduced several quirky alterations, such as Bison bizarrely transforming into an Irish drug lord. Regrettably, the film failed to succeed commercially, performing even worse than the original adaptation. Moving on to the live appearances, Chun-Li made a memorable cameo in the extraordinary short film crossover titled Power Rangers Legacy Wars Street Fighter Showdown. This promotional film aimed to generate interest in the 2017 fighting game Power Rangers Legacy Wars. The storyline revolves around Rita Repulsa discovering the remains of Street Fighter's M. Bison and resurrecting him in her world to aid in her global conquests. In this film, Chun-Li joins forces with the Power Rangers to confront Bison in an epic showdown. Also, yes, you can play as the Chun-Li Ranger in the game. Absolutely mental. The 1994 Japanese animated movie closely adhered to the events of Street Fighter II rather than the live-action adaptation. In this version, Chun Li served as an Interpol agent partnering with Guile to probe Bison's criminal organisation. Although she didn't participate in the final battle against Bison, her most notable moment occurred when she fought with Vega shortly after stepping out of the shower. Today, such a scene remains infamous, particularly because it resulted in young men feeling feelings they had never felt before. In the Japanese animated series Street Fighter II V, produced shortly after the animated film, Chun-Li's character underwent a significant retcon. Instead of being portrayed as the world's strongest woman, she was depicted as a 15-year-old girl. Despite this change, Chun-Li still played a vital role in the series, even falling victim to Bison's psycho powers at one point. Throughout the show's run, she develops a romantic relationship with Ken and finds herself in distress, requiring Ryu and Ken to rescue her from Bison's control.
You've heard of Barbie and Ken, but have you ever heard of 15-year-old Chun Li and Ken?
In the American animated series, inspired by the Hollywood movie, Chun Li was reimagined as a news reporter seeking vengeance for her father's murder. Despite being hailed as the strongest woman in the world in one episode, viewers learned that Chun Li had witnessed her father's death at the hands of Bison when her father valiantly defended their village. While this event sounds traumatic, for M. Bison, it was just Tuesday. Oh yeah, it's also worth noting that in this one, when she tries to apprehend the supervillain, he tells her to stop whining about him killing her father, because he killed his own father too, and you don't hear him complaining about it. Hilarious. In the Street Fighter Alpha animated movie, Chun-Li's role shifted from teaming up with Guile and Charlie as seen in the games, to instead joining forces with Ryu and Ken to uncover information about her father's disappearance. Chun-Li's presence extended beyond the realm of Street Fighter, making notable appearances in various media. One such instance was her cameo in the children's movie Wreck-It Ralph, where she joined several other Street Fighter characters. Within the realm of video games, Chun-Li's prominence has been unquestionable. She graced the playable roster in the Street Fighter movie video games. She was a staple part of the Street Fighter EX series, a trilogy of 3D polygonal fighters developed by Eureka, which debuted in 1996. She additionally showcased her skills in Capcom Fighting Evolution, representing Team Street Fighter III, and her unmistakable presence was felt in games such as Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, a game where, in a comical twist, she apprehends Felicia, ensuring her trip to the zoo. Chun-Li's prolific crossover appearances make her an indispensable character in various crossover titles, including the Marvel vs. Capcom, Capcom vs. SNK, and Capcom vs. Tatsunoko series. Her importance to such projects was undeniable. Such crossovers result in plenty of memorable moments, such as throwing many of Marvel's favourite superheroes into a Chinese prison cell and trying to apprehend Mai Shiranui for indecent exposure. The game certainly makes a few funny jokes at her expense. There is a further intriguing occurrence in Marvel vs. Capcom where Chun-Li transforms into Shadow Lady, a playable boss. Shadow Lady was unmistakably a sprite swap of Chun-Li, but possessed an array of unique moves due to her cyborg nature. These included hand transformations into spinning drills, rocket launches, and electric attacks, creating an unusual and captivating dynamic. Chun-Li continued her crossover journey in titles like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, where she teamed up with Cammy, and Street Fighter Cross Mega Man, where she served as one of the game's bosses. Her legacy also extended into more niche appearances with roles in Blood Brothers 2, Grand Blue Fantasy, Shadowverse, and even Fortnite, one of Gen Z's favourite games. All in all, this further solidified her iconic status in the gaming world. She also appears in RPGs like Namco Cross Capcom and the Project X Zone series, among others. In addition to all of this, she has made an insane amount of comic book and manga appearances, so many in fact, that they would be impossible to document properly unless I made this video a feature-length movie.
Chun Li really is the queen of her genre.
In 2023, her canon story has finally been built on further. Now appearing old and presenting as a former Interpol agent, Chun Li has since risen to the position of director within its Special Criminal Intelligence Division. Her current mission involves caring for Li Fen, whom we touched on earlier. In the wake of Shadowlu's demise, she has transitioned into teaching kung fu classes and has become a cherished member of the local community. However, Chun Li's tranquility is disrupted when she discovers that a new terrorist group called Amnesia has targeted Ken and falsely accused him of a crime. Determined to clear his name, she embarks on a quest to unearth the evidence needed for his exoneration. In the aftermath of Shadowlu's collapse, Chun Li has adopted a more philosophical outlook on life. She now dons a white-based attire that pays homage to her series' roots, while offering both elegance and flexibility. Chun Li exerts Kung Fu Master veteran boss-level energy more than ever before. Chun Li's story is built on in both her arcade mode and another characters, but first let's discuss hers. In this one, Chun Li has to take a break from her peaceful hiatus due to crossing paths with Juri. As they face off in a fierce combat encounter, Juri cautions Chun Li that the demise of M. Bison did not mark the end of their challenges. Intrigued by Juri's cryptic warning, Chun Li seeks answers, but Juri proposes a different approach, challenging Chun Li to extract the information through combat. Ultimately, Chun Li emerges victorious in their intense fight. Despite her triumph, Juri manages to slip away again without divulging any secrets. Chun Li, however, already known for her unwavering determination, remains resolute. Even with M. Bison no longer a threat, she remains committed to fighting evil. In Juri's arcade mode, Chun Li displays empathy towards her enduring rival, recognising that, much like herself, Juri too has suffered from M. Bison's malevolent actions. Despite their shared past, they have diverged onto distinct life paths, Chun Li embracing the pursuit of justice and honour, while Juri remains consumed by a thirst for vengeance and criminal pursuits. Frustrated by the constant lectures, Juri initiates a confrontation with Chun Li, ultimately managing to slip away, all the while unable to shake off the echoes of Chun Li's words lingering in her thoughts. In World Tour mode, players will encounter Chun Li as the second master in the game. She can be found in the Honghulu Chinatown area of Metro City. As players enter this area, they witness a sparring match between Chun Li and Li Fen. Chun Li demonstrates incredible agility, effortlessly dodging all of Li Fen's strikes. She even leaps over Li Fen's final flying kick, tapping her lightly on the back of the head with her foot as Li Fen crashes into the player. After this impressive display, Chun Li helps the player up and introduces herself. This marks the beginning of the player's journey in Kung Fu training under Chun Li's guidance. While Chun Li may not be as central to the game's storyline as her student Li Fen, players can learn more about Chun Li's background and interests as they develop a closer bond with her throughout the title. In today's video, I hope many of you have gained a deep understanding of this iconic character. Chun Li is beloved not just for her striking appearance, but also for her unique fighting style and intricate and revenge-fueled backstory. She is a valiant fighter who approaches her duty with utmost seriousness. Nevertheless, she is not immune to emotional outbursts, especially concerning the tragic loss of her father. Her enduring presence in the gaming world since 1991 raises exciting questions about what Capcom might have in the works for this character in the future. One thing is certainly for sure, we will be hearing more about her for many years to come. So that was Ladies Through the Decades. Subscribe and comment below and let me know which lady you want to see me cover next. Click one of my other Street Fighter videos now.